One of the most important principles of animation is timing and spacing, but it can also be a little bit deceptive when you first start out. It's one of those things that seems pretty basic, however, there's more to it than meets the eye. So what is it? Here's a simple circle. Let's say we want to move it from point A to point B. And here's a timing chart, just to make things a little bit easier to see. I like to think of it like this. Timing is how many frames our circle takes to get from point A to point B, and the spacing is how it gets there. More on that in a moment. So in this example, it takes a total of 24 frames to get from the start to the end. That's the timing. And the spacing is the relationship of the positions along the way. You can see here that there's an even distance between each point, but that's the spacing. Okay, so now you might be thinking, that's pretty easy. But here's where it gets interesting. Let's take a look at these examples. Which one do you think arrives first? It's the second one. Oh no, maybe the first. No, definitely the second. Well, what if I told you they all arrived at the same time? What? You don't believe me? Well, let's slow it down. And there you go. They all arrive at the same time. And congratulations if you guessed that correctly, by the way. So what's going on here? Well, each example has exactly the same timing, but different spacing. The first one has even spacing from the start to the end. The second one starts out fast and then slows down towards the end. And the third one starts out slow, speeds up in the middle, and then slows down at the very end. So hopefully you can see what a drastic effect that adjusting the spacing has on the overall motion. Let's see what happens when we change the timing. Let's use our example with even spacing for now. When we lower the amount of frames it takes to get from point A to point B, you can see the effect it has on the spacing. There are less frames for the circle to travel from the start to the end, so effectively it speeds up. And if we increase the amount of frames, it has the opposite effect. It slows down. Another way to think of it is this. The closer the spacing is, the slower it moves, and the further apart the spacing, the faster it moves. Congratulations, you now understand the basics of timing and spacing. But don't get too excited, there's still a lot to learn. But all you need to remember is this. Timing is how long it takes to get there, and spacing is how it gets there.